Welcome, Magi-Nation fans and soon-to-be fans. I'm here with Rich Werner, one of the original art team, and we're just going to go over a couple of things. As a quick introduction, Rich started his first main art job with Magi-Nation back over 20 years ago. He is actually the number one first position artist on cards, having worked on 633 cards that are attributed to him in first place. And he is the third place overall creator on Magi-Nation cards with 648 times that he's attributed across all of the sets. This new Trader's Reach set, he worked on 53 of the cards before 2i shut down for the first time, and he has since then worked on a number of cards for this reboot directly, including the Showdown card and the Omniconstruct. And now I'm gonna turn it over to him to tell one or two of his favorite stories from back when he worked on the team
Okay.
and what it's felt like to come back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, honestly, like when you told me that those statistics, I didn't realize how many cards I actually made for that game. That's crazy. That's probably the most art I've done for a single project ever in my life, I think. I don't know. That's pretty trippy. Uh, but yeah, oh man, I don't know, it's so weird because it's been so long, right, since that game's been out, and it's the first thing I ever worked on in my entire life. And then hearing that it's coming back after all these years is it just kind of trips me out. And the fact that I actually am still still did some art for it that many years later is just wild to me, man. I don't know. Uh, yeah, but I mean, I think it's rad. I know Holberg and I think that was his first job too, actually. Um, I think he was 18 and I was 21 or 2, 22 maybe. He actually hired me, which is a trip. This kid, I went into his offices. There's this kid sitting at a desk, and he was the one that got me hired, which is like so weird. But yeah, it was his baby. The first thing I think he ever really had worked on ever either, as far as designing everything from the ground up. But it's just weird to me that it there's still fans now after all these years. Um, yeah, I mean, I think at one point, I remember I had a massive amount of cards, and I think this was during Desert Storm. I think I think so. And
Voice of
there
the
was
Storms?
no, the
No.
actual
Oh
war.
yeah, the military campaign, Desert
Yeah, yeah,
Storm.
no. But during that time period, I received a message from somebody. This is long after I'd been gone. Um, but these guys that was their pastime, was playing this game still, like many years later, and that was the only thing that they had to for like their when their downtime. And so I sent them everything that I had. I had thousands of cards. I just boxed them up in a giant box, and I just shipped them all off. And then later on down the road, I ended up having to buy all of it back again from somebody on eBay because I missed them. I was like, this was actually only maybe like 4 years ago. I was like, I want my cards back. So like, I had to go buy more. But no, I don't know. It's a trip. I still am in contact with some of the people there. I think every once in a while I speak to Hannah. She'll pop up randomly on some social media site. I haven't talked to Ryan Shreve in forever. He used to be. I used to see him a lot downtown when I worked at another gaming company with Matt. We both worked at PopCap together. So when I was working there, I used to see Shreve once in a while downtown. But other than that, oh, and Cavill, Bill Cavill, yeah, I've seen him a few times. He's like into he's like into politics now. And he's a lawyer. It's kind of wild. But yeah, but no, it's really cool that you guys were. I don't know how you guys were able to do it, but I think it's awesome that you guys were able to get the license for this and to be able to release this set because it was really fun. I remember we were working on it towards the end there, and Matt was really pumping out a lot of really cool stuff. I think at that point, his skill level, as far as his artistic level for this style of game, was like really up there. So it's really cool to be able to see. And I haven't seen These cards that you're showing, by the way, yeah, these are like, I'm like, what? I don't remember. This one I remember drawing this one, but I don't remember doing all of it. I just remember drawing it. It's so trippy. Oh man, it's so wild. Yeah, sitting at my art desk, and some of these I drew at home because I was laid off when they made something. So I drew them at home, and I would send them actual pieces of art to Matt, or I'd go down to the office to drop them off for him. But yeah, on actual paper. Back when we used to draw everything by hand. Yeah, I don't know if anybody knows that, but everything was drawn on paper by hand and inked on paper by hand, and then scanned and colored in the computer.
Wow.
So yeah, we had I mean stacks. I mean, think about it. You heard them, you saw the numbers, right? Like every one of those cards is two pieces of paper. You have a pencil paper and then you have an ink paper. So like we had tons of drawings, and some of them were really big. Some, usually on like a 9 by 12 piece of paper, or whatever. But some of them were quite large, depending on what it was that we are drawing. But I always thought that was a trip that we did it that way, kind of old schoolish
What of
looking.
the cards you remember working on, what were some of
Oh
your
man.
favorites?
Well, I was always partial to the bog wrap cards only because they let me make that race up. So, because I wanted to do something kind of, I don't know, different. Because the art style of Magi-Nation itself was a little bit out of my wheelhouse as far as like the characters look, like their faces and things like that, the way they're put together was a little bit outside of what I normally draw like. And so I was like, I'm gonna try to do something. Maybe I can get them to do something that's really closer to something that I do. So I'm like, how about these? They're talking about, this place that's all mucky and dirty and grimy. And I'm like, ooh, I want to draw those people. So like, I just came up with those. So I think those are probably my favorites out of all of them. Yeah, yeah, and and oh, that's the other thing too. I guess I could say is like the process, like how we did them. It'd be like there's so we're all sitting in a room together. Homework's sitting right next to me, and we're both drawing. I mean, I would draw like 10 or 12 cards a day sometimes. Like it would just be like so many. It was like really fast. We have a list and this massive list of cards and what they do, and when they were like, just do make stuff. So we had like
Make art
this
that does
freedom.
this.
Yeah, seriously, they were just like, just make it. You guys got it. You guys got it. It's like the ultimate freedom, right? So like we would just draw whatever we thought was cool and just like, is this cool? You guys think this is cool? I think it's cool. I like this looks really awesome. Like, so then we would draw it, and then I just turn around and literally just hand it over to my buddy Tim Gillette. He was the guy who inked most of the stuff, and I would give it to him, and he would sit there with his light bulb box, whatever, and he would just ink it all up, and then we would divvy up to anybody who wanted to color something. Like, Hana, do you want to color something? Do you want to color something? Like, and they would just pick through the ones until pretty much just pick something you like, just color it. Like, and then sometimes we were able to do them ourselves if there was a card that you really liked a lot, and you're like, oh, I really want this one to just be mine. I want all of it. So like, might have a couple of excuse me, put aside where you do your own thing. So yeah, those cards with just one name, like that means that person, obviously did all of it, right? And it usually goes, I'm sure this is people probably know this already, but it's like pencil, ink, or colors is how that goes. So but yeah, so I mean that's how we would do it. And we would just sit and do that all day long, like 8 hours a day, drawing cards. It's pretty wild.
How does that compare with some of the teams that you've been on since then? Because you've worked on big projects like Plants vs. Zombies or other stuff. How,
Yeah.
how different is your experience with Magi-Nation?
Honestly, this is gonna sound really weird, but honestly, that compared to PBZ was almost the same. And the only reason I say that is because for PBZ, there was only 4 people that made that game too. So it's like carte blanche, like just make stuff you think is rad, and we would just agree on it. But I have worked on teams that are much bigger, right? And
Hmm.
it does compare because you don't have those kinds of freedoms normally, right? Like if you're working on especially working on a big game or something like that, there's so many different things you have to go through before things get approved and okayed, and like which is normal. That's like the normal process. But
Yeah.
um, for that, because it was such a new thing, and it was just that company it was a fledgling company where that was their first. That was, I think, their only IP. I think.
Yeah.
I think that is all. I think that's it, right?
I mean, they got the Game Boy game, which was quite a branch out, but even with that, it's still art. and game
Yeah.
production.
Yeah, no, totally. So I mean, actually, we had more people working on the Game Boy game than we did the card game by like 2x, maybe 3x. I don't know. There was a bunch of guys coding and doing all that the programmer stuff, and there was all those artists working on it too. And then Matt was at the corner with another guy, Mike Vega. Actually, you'll see Vega's name, excuse me, on a bunch of the early cards because him and Mike Vega were the original artists for the game, 100%. And then there was one other guy. Oh man, I'm gonna screw it up. Damn it, I can't remember. Oh, I feel so bad. I can't remember his name. But there was three guys kind of working on stuff, and then I
Hmm.
like here's a level, make it cool. Like just like describe what this world looks like, and then go just make something that looks cool for that. I'm like, okay, it's like sit there and like come up with crazy stuff, but it doesn't compare to most companies because you had so much freedom. And I think that's why it was so cool. I think, to be honest, I think that's why it's still loved now, like by a lot of fans and stuff, because I think it shows that there's all this creativity and like everything that was done was a passion. It was like a giant passion project, right? Like everybody was really into what we were doing. So and a lot of the work it's just whatever you thought was cool, and you just got to throw it out in the world, and people dug it. It proved that you can do that.
So, how did it feel to work on the Omni construct after so
Oh
long?
yeah, that was kind of weird. Well, also I didn't. That was the one. Is that the one where someone else? Oh, I can't remember the name of the person. I'm so sorry.
Adam
But someone
Clerman.
else had done like a sketch for it,
Yeah,
right?
Adam Clerman did the line art.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he did that, and then I took it, and I don't know, just use that as like my reference.
Yeah.
It was cool though. It's always cool. Like it's weird, but I do get commissions. Like I'll do like one or two a year probably. Someone will randomly hit me up and go, "Hey, can you draw this for me?" I'm like, "Mm, okay." Like, you know, I'll take it just like any other commission. It's fine. But it's always weird when I do one because I'm like, oh wow, it's been so long, and the style of art that it is, like trying to, and of course things it's just out of the way things work. Like the art style kind of varies as it gets the further out it goes because like artists change, they get better, their styles vary. So trying to go back and go, okay, how did I draw that back then? Like, how can I still kind of get that vibe still? Like going back and see it, sometimes it's kind of hard. Like, wait, how did I do that? I don't remember. Like, but no, I think it's fun. I like doing that stuff. Well, that's how you guys got some of the promo cards, right? Or
Yeah.
there's some art that was done because it was commissions from other people.
Hmm.
I believe. Yeah, there's a few of them like that. Um, no, I like it. I think it's fun. I like. I know just revisiting. I know some people have done what you were saying to me before was like revisiting some old cards and like a newer version, like an update of that card. I think that's really cool. But yeah.
Well, I think we're about out of Zoom
Oh,
record
geez.
time, but
Yeah, I'm such a talker, right? I'm like blah 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 blah. No.
thank you so much for taking the time to just share your love that you still have for this project.
Oh, for sure. Dude, I'm really stoked to see it. I'm buying it. When it comes out, I'm getting it, dude. Like I have to have it. I'm just excited to
Sounds
see all the cards because there's so many images I haven't seen in forever. So awesome.
okay.
I think it's great. I can't believe there's such a support system you guys have for this game. It's humbling, actually. It's pretty cool. It's very cool.
We'll talk to you later, Rich.
All right, man. Cool.